Joe, back again. Back from a much delayed Rona-based hiatus. Trying to get through a number of comics that I got in, meant to review. Let's start with one of my favorites that came in, Maiden Knuckle Bomb from Keung Lee. I am not 100% sure when this originally came out. I could have sworn I bought this at like a second chance sale. But you can see he kind of dates himself here. If you guys can see this. Trivia: seemingly overnight, toilet paper has become valuable commodity. I mean, it has always been, but now you have the choice to sell a roll for $20 or wipe your butt with it. Just don't try selling it after you used it. Wise words from the master. So, to me, this is kind of interesting. Maiden Knuckle Bomb is the first manga, I believe, to come out of Comicsgate. You do have Tim Lim and his style, although his is kind of mixed sometimes. But I think this is the first one that takes on more of a Japanese aesthetic and sort of Japanese themes. So, you have Keung Lee. I know he's a guy who lives around here in Southern California. And I think this, in some ways, is why it's possible. Keung Lee, I believe, is a Korean name. I could be wrong. Definitely does not sound Japanese to me. But here in Southern California, back in the day, in the 80s and 90s, there was enough of an Asian population where you would have imported manga from Japan. So a little history of Asian pop culture. So after the war, Japan was the first place to really do it up and have its own mass media culture. You had all sorts of movies, anime, and manga that were over there, and there was a wave that came over to the US in the 1980s, mostly in the form of cartoons, but there were a lot of TV shows. Ultraman was big for kids when I was young. And manga, if you were in a place that could get it. Now, being in Southern California, you could access it if you were from, let's say, the Midwest or the Southeast. Probably you never got inundated in this culture. The Korean wave didn't really start until the government started to prop up its own media with movies in the 90s. Taiwan always had its thing, but it was a small country and questionable issues of nationality, let's say. Hong Kong, they peaked somewhere in the 90s, coming up in the late 80s, strong in the 90s. By early 2000s, they really started to go downhill once China took over. And Korea didn't really hit big internationally, I think, until Psy and his Gangnam Style. But that left Japan being the dominant pop culture force from really the 80s all the way until today. But let's take a look. So it starts off in a great place. It starts off in the middle of the story. You have your hero, Saya, who is the Maiden Knuckle Bomb, I assume. And you get introduced to this character who I have to admit I completely forgot about until I just started rereading. She comes back later on and has a stronger presence, but I forgot about this whole beginning. So this whole thing, black and white. So guess what, guys? I'm not going to complain about color at all this time. But if you look at the setup, lots of speed lines. The drawing style is very manga-ish. The inking is very manga-ish. I lived in Tokyo for some time, and they have places called manga kisa, which are cafes. You go order a drink, and they have a whole library of manga just throughout the store. You just take one while you're drinking. This absolutely would have fit in there. Okay, so we see her. She's in a fight with this lady who, not to crap on Kyung, but there are times, like, okay, you see breasts here, but like, is that a dude or a lady? I don't know. You know, sometimes it's like, are those breasts or incredibly large pecs? I don't know. You know, compare the size of the other muscles, maybe. Kind of a weird choice, but let's just say she lives. All right, so we see her defeating our hero, and then we go back and we learn what the heck happened. All right, so we find out that she is a super duper, I believe it's karate. I don't think they actually say. Yeah, so we'll call it karate. So she's trained in karate, and she beats the crap out of most of her classmates, and her father, I guess, was the original sensei. Something happened to him. We are not entirely sure the context, but so this guy is her sensei, who is also a cop, and he tells her, like, hey, there's strange things going afoot. There are reavers in the city. People are asking really weird, gang warfare. If you like 1980s games, I don't know Keung Lee. I've never had a chance to talk to him, but I bet you he loved River City Ransom. So at any rate, she works at a ramen shop part-time because, you know, she's got to make some money, right? So we will flip through. There's some bad guys. We see her sensei is a super awesome cop who just takes out any criminals. Okay, and then we get to meet her uncle. Now, her uncle is somewhat of a genius, they mention. And she goes and she meets him, and he's like, oh, sorry, I haven't been around. And then we find out he's been forced to help these people. He's kind of hiding out for him because he doesn't like what's going on. And then we have the woman come back. And so Saya's like, well, I'm awesome at karate. I'll kick their butts. Nope, doesn't happen. So she gets shot. Oh, nice fist through the body. Very Kung Pao style. But she gets shot, and the only way for her uncle to save her is to put her in this program. Now, it's some kind of a super soldier, Captain America, Steve Rogers-esque thing where they are trying to create people with enhanced powers, advanced healing, super strength, stuff like that. But so far it hasn't worked. And uncle, you know, he kind of perfected the process, but he didn't want this group to have it. And you can see what happened to the rejects. They turn into grotesque mutants. All right, so she breaks herself out. She finds herself, now she's all jacked. And I just like to point out, it's like, okay, so Keung, he can make feminine looking jacked people. So I'm curious about the choice of, like, is that a dude? You know what I mean? Dude. It's only in some of the shots where it appears more feminine, but this person does identify as a female. So, I don't know. And she thinks of her dad, and she's got to fight some of the rejects. Kind of Thundercat looking, very cool. But we shall flip through. And in the end, like, damn, that's awesome. So we can also see Keung must have been influenced by WWF wrestling at the time. Here we go. An ad? I don't know if this is a real ad or if this is what, but ECW wrestling. Ononoko Pro Resu. Yeah, so women's pro wrestling. I don't quite know. Is Is that like the next one? I don't know. Be interesting to find out. But at any rate, we see the last one. Boom! Uncle is no longer required. Presumably, he just got blowed up. So one of the things story-wise, this is a pretty simple story, but, you know, I do sort of say a lot of the Comicscape books that come out, they go through the whole story, and when they end, it's sort of like just the beginning of the story. You know, it's like this introduction thing, like the preview couple of pages here, right, is only 4 pages, but in a lot of the comic book stuff, it's like this would be 60 pages. And just when it's getting finished, I feel like it should be more, and I want more, but there's nothing to read for like another year. This, I actually feel like it's a complete story. When, you know, we have here, she kind of beats the lady in a fight. I feel like it's a good ending, but then, you know, Uncle shot and it, so you know there's more, but I feel satisfied. I feel like I ate a full meal. My belly's full until Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb 2, which is on Indiegogo right now, go check it out, comes out. So another thing I'd like to point out, let's see, is, so if you look at manga, you have writing like this, okay? This is katakana. It's one of the alphabets in Japanese, and it's used, they're sound effects basically. It's writing, it's language, they would know it. But they're also used, they seem to be more designed in, and I think that's one of the things that Keung does well. Eric Weathers was on the channel a few days ago. He is the guy who does most of the lettering for Comicscape. I believe Keung did everything for this book. But if we look at here, it says kong, kong, kong. So a knocking sound, right? And the way it's integrated makes it look like it's knocking as well. Doka! You know, screaming as she does her kick. Let's see if we find another one. There's a lot of very excellent use where the letters actually become part of the design. So, rumbling sound. Go, 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 go. Go, 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 go. It's very nice, man. So, Battle Maiden Knuckle Bomb. If you like manga, I think you'd like it. This is definitely, you can see the characters a little sexier, but I think it's still appropriate for kids. There's nothing lewd about any of it. There's no implications of sexual activity. It's just a person's body. I highly recommend it. Go check this out. Number 2 is on Indiegogo right now. It's a strong recommend for me based on this. I want to see what happens more. Got to see what happens with the town. Who's this terrorist organization? Is she going to kick the crap out of the man-woman? I don't know. But that's it for this review. If you liked it, give me a thumbs up. If there's something you want me to review, mention it in the comments. And we'll see if we get to it. Subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think. It really helps me. So I'll see you guys later.